The Seattle Kraken are about to enter their fifth NHL season through those first four. One playoff appearance, and not much else, really. And I feel like they're the perfect candidate to kind of take and try to get on the right track for the first little challenge that we do here on NHL 26. Allow me to explain the not much else side of things. This is their roster with the start of NHL 26 at the very least. Of course, we can judge EA's ratings how we want to judge them, but it is a decent representation of what they have going on. Now, we know that they were at a disadvantage compared to the Vegas Golden Knights in terms of an expansion draft. GMs wisened up a little bit, certainly didn't shoot themselves in the foot, to put it nicely, as some teams did with the Vegas expansion draft, but they still had some decent pieces and some decent maneuverability after that expansion draft. And what do they have to show for it right now? You do still have someone like Jared McCann, a good young player, and Matty Beniers. Of course, they picked up Mason Marchment as well this offseason, but aside from that, it's, some middle sixers and someone like Chandler Stevenson, with respect to him on a contract like this, that good for him and his agent. Probably not the best deal to sign. And it kind of leaves you with that question of, again, where is this team going? Are they too bad to be good and just simply, not good enough? Too bad to be terrible, really, to not get the super high-end talent that it certainly looks like that lineup is missing. At least they have Joey Decord in goal. We don't have to talk about the Grubauer contract, which I don't even know where the heck I put him. I think I put him in the AHL. I did. Shout out to Philip Grubauer and his agent, but holy, that is quite the contract. So what we are going to look to do is, again, get this team on a little bit more of a defined path. Can we tear it down a little bit more, try and build back up with that higher end talent? Or are there going to be some moves available even as soon as the first trade deadline to try and step up and get this team into a more competitive spot? That is the question. It is worth noting, though, not just the NHL roster, you do have quite a few prospects in the AHL that are decent. A lot of medium top six potentials amongst these forwards, quite a few. In fact, we have 7 of them. And even defensively, you still have guys like Caden Price. You have Lukas Dragicevic. Again, good pieces, but the super high-end talent just isn't necessarily there. Shane Wright, the only medium elite in the mix right now. So we're going to see what happens throughout, this first season, which, let's be honest, I expect this to kind of be bad. We're going to simulate a lot, see where we're at, and then look to move on from certain players, particularly certain veterans whose deals are up at the end of the year. Mason Marchment, Jamie Alexiak could go and probably fetch us a decent amount. Jaden Schwartz's deal is up. Jordan Eberle's deal is up. Eli Tolvanen. There's some good options to take and trade away at the end of this season to try and get that extra draft capital that this team really needs. So as expected, we're not doing that well, right? Second to last in our Pacific Division, only ahead of the San Jose Sharks, which is to be expected as well. 26, 27, and 6. It's the week of the deadline coming up. It's going to be a good time to send away some pieces and try to tank. Of course, it is a pretty good draft as well. Obviously, when you talk about this game as well, one of the big issues, big shortcomings of this game is going to be, the departure of so many guys from the CHL to the NCAA and how that affects the prospect pool. But it is going to help us here in the short term. But yeah, you got to look here. I mean, there's obviously computer-generated guys, but then you have Ivar Stenberg in this draft. Ryan Rubruck is here. Ethan Belchet's a bit further down. There's still some names, but there is no Gavin McKenna in the draft out of the gates because he's not there at the moment. Best way to put it. So let's get to this this trade deadline, and we'll see what we're dealing with from there. But yeah, this game definitely going to be heavily affected by a lot of guys that have, of course, moved on to the NCAA again. I mentioned Gavin McKenna now playing with Penn State for this upcoming season. And yeah, that is going to heavily affect this game, to say the least. We'll list ourselves as sellers, even though I'm not really going off of the trade block or anything like that. And apparently, by default, Vince Dunn, Jared McCann are guys that are up there. I don't plan on getting rid of people unless, the deals are expiring or it kind of makes sense. I don't like immediately getting rid of all the best contracts or the worst contracts, I should say. Although, like, for example, Philip Grubauer. Hey, shocking. Nobody wants Philip Grubauer right now. We could try to see if we could get something for Matt Murray, but I doubt it. No, okay, I was wrong. Domanis, Wagner, or Chibrikov. Right. What's the worst that could happen sending Matt Murray to the Florida Panthers? Maybe they have a goalie injury or something. I don't know. Really no reason to not go for it. Case in point, you can tell this is my first playthrough of franchise on this game because I'm still getting pop-ups. Sandish Vilmanish, the Latvian, I would imagine. Yes, indeed. He's a solid enough player. He'll probably be like a bottom sixer for us. It's at least something for Matt Murray. Let's go ahead and take that deal. That'll allow us to put Grubauer back in as the backup goaltender. If we look defensively, again, like Vince Dunn's still got a year left, but Alexiak is a good guy to try to look to move out as well. 2 second-round picks from the Oilers. Not bad. Second at Allsher from Florida. Carson Lambos. It's not bad. Villain, 2 seconds in Edwards, or a second, a third in Topi Niemela, who is still listed with Toronto. Carson Lambos is like 22 now, isn't he? He's not quite the prospect that he was. He's 23, but he is a depth defenseman. Honestly, I think that works. I mean, I'm a big fan of one Jamie Alexiak. I mean, literally, we can pull the jersey off the rack here. But it is a good time for him to go. It's a good time for me to fail at hanging up my jersey again, too. It is a good time for him to go, right? I mean, it makes sense. Get somebody younger in there like Lambos, a couple of picks and everything. That's not that bad. So Jamie Alexiak going to be on his way to Minnesota as we try to get younger and worse for this draft, even if there is no Gavin McKenna at the top of it. And was that it for defensemen? I mean, kind of. Like Riker Evans. Riker Evans has 2 years left. Lambos, Odavainen. Yeah, there's really nobody else on defense to move. Right wing side. Love me some Jordan Eberle as well. But the man's 35 now, right? It's a good time for Jordan Eberle to go. If we can get anything for him at this stage. But he has that full no trade clause, and from the looks of it, doesn't look like he is going to waive that clause. Let's ask him. And nope. All right, so Jordan is staying. Fair enough. Fair enough. That is his right. Of course, they re-signed Capo Caco, which is fine. Mason Marchment is on an expiring deal. He's up an overall point this year. 14 goals, 19 assists. That's not bad. But he is 31 now. If we can get something for him, we should. Mr. Brustowitz, a second and a third. Jeremy Poirier, a second and a third. So Calgary really wants him. Gradine, Poirier, and a second. 2 seconds from Colorado. Bernecki in 2 seconds. Right. So, I mean, Calgary offering 2 prospects and a second rounder. I mean, the more prospects we can get into the system, the better, honestly. I mean, Poirier, I'm pretty sure, is about the same age as Lambos at this point. He is. He is a bit lower of an overall, too. Matt Gradine, though, still the younger player. I mean, it could be worth trying to see what's up with Poirier, or we could take a 3rd-round pick where we probably get a guy who's about as good as Poirier. Let's go for it. We'll send Mason Marchment out to Calgary. And again, another 2nd-round pick, get some extra prospects into the system that we are going to need. Ellie Tolvanen's deal is up. Was there anybody else on the right wing side? No. So Jaden Schwartz as well. His deal's up. Can we get anything for him? 3rd and Suniev. Brustowitz again from Calgary. 2nd and 3rd from Pittsburgh. Blomqvist as a goalie. Bernecki and Doc are 2 fourths. That's a fair deal as well. Calgary doing a fire sale, pun not intended, of their prospects. Hunter Brustowitz, no reason to not bring him in a 1-for-1 with Jaden Schwartz. Just keep tearing this team down and see where we can go from here. Eli Tolvanen again. His deal is up. What can we get for him? Second and a third. Pretty common. 2/3 in Kapanen. Second in Tristan Lennox. Adam Sikora. Third and a seventh. Sikora might be worth it. Pittsburgh offering 2 seconds and Ville Koivunen. Wernicke in a second. Braden Yeager a third and a fifth. I mean, second and a third's not too bad in this scenario. But, again, another defensive prospect isn't the worst idea in the world. Harrison Wernicke looking pretty good. Pittsburgh. By the way, how the hell are the Penguins at 38, 20, and 3? Okay, in case you're wondering if the sim engine's the same. Good Lord, Sidney Crosby willing that team to glory one more time. We got anything for Ben Myers? Apparently we could even get something for Ben Myers. Only medium 9s, or the defensive equivalent of a medium 6, but it is possible. Right, I mean, I guess it would be kind of dumb to not take this particular deal. Let's go for, I mean, God, did we go from Pittsburgh again? Just to kind of tear them down a bit more, because you know they're going to be in a bit of a weird spot. Gauthier, Duke, Danilo Klimovich. Could break the hearts of all Canucks fans, and I'm going to do so by taking Danilo Klimovich. It's a good player to have. It's about all we can do for the left wing teardown. This team is going to be bad down the stretch. And then for centers, of course, Chandler Stevenson's going nowhere. Pretty much nobody's leaving from the center position at this stage. So we have done a fair amount of damage, honestly. I mean, again, we do have Wright, Beniers, Berkeley, Catton at medium elite. If we can get anybody else really in this draft, we have Tampa's first, 4 second-round picks now. We're not that far off from being able to kind of get what we need for a quick little couple-year rebuild with this team. Well, I don't want to say typical EA sim, so I won't. The Seattle Kraken end up finishing 5th in the Western Conference after that trade deadline teardown. We got better somehow. Despite our Lions looking like this, we called up John Hayden, Max McCormick, Mitch Stevens, and even had Jeremy Poirier playing forward. Somehow, someway, we also claimed Daniil Miramanoff off of waivers from Calgary. Somehow, someway, this team got better. Philip Grubauer played 5 games. He was lights out, because of course he was. So much for those higher draft picks that we were hoping for. That is not great. Not great. And the play kind of backfired if we're being honest. But that said, taking a look just quickly at our team, Matty Beniers led with 58 points, 25 goals. Did not expect him to outscore Jared McCann, but he did. Chandler Stevenson on 50 points. Shane Wright hit 20 goals, which isn't too bad. Capo Caco on just 44 points. That's a little bit disappointing if we're being honest. But yeah, I mean, you can look at the call-ups here at the bottom. Like, there wasn't a big points difference from who we called up. Like, those were okay. It's just somehow, some way, this team gelled a little bit better under head coach Lane Lambert. So figure that one out. In terms of the league leaders for Season 1, it was Leon Draisaitl on 107. Worth noting, scoring settings just kind of on the default for Season 1, just to see what that does and how it plays out. Not the most true-to-life results in terms of like McDavid and Draisaitl, just barely being over 100 points. Ovi in this game is still an absolute monster because they made him still really, really good. I mean, in terms of goal scoring, he's still really, really good. Obviously, he's the greatest goal scorer in NHL history. But, you know, I won't get into ratings talks this time. We'll save that for a different time. Zach Werenski actually outscored Cale Makar, but for the most part, it is the defenseman you would expect to see at the top in terms of points. And for the goaltenders, most wins, I was already sorted by that, Sergei Bobrovsky, Dustin Wolf in Calgary. And in terms of top save percentage for a starter, a .928 for Freddie Anderson, Hellebuck at a .923, and then Wolf and Joseph Wall at a .918. For the rookies, Demidov's going to get it done with 51 points. I mean, with respect to everybody else on that list, the competition level compared to the situation that Demidov stepping into in Montreal, it just doesn't compare. So, no surprise there. Good times are finally back on deck for the Edmonton Oilers. They get it done in Connor McDavid's contract year. At least at the time I'm recording this, he still hasn't re-signed in real life, and I believe in the game. We actually have to double check. But there you go. The Oilers finally going to get it done. And let's take a look at who they beat to get there. It was the New York Islanders ending the reign of the Florida Panthers in the conference finals. Also, Buffalo made the playoffs in Season 1. I have my thoughts on that particular Season 1 sim, but it is what it is. No surprise, McDavid, Bouchard, Draisaitl just absolutely crushing it en route to their first Stanley Cup. As we take a look at the individual awards, Art Ross to Leon Draisaitl, as well as the Hart Trophy, the Norris to Cale Makar, Bing to Kaprizov, Demidov, of course, wins the Calder, back-to-back for the Habs. Conn Smythe to Evan Bouchard, interesting. Freddie Anderson wins the Vezina, as well as the Jennings, easy for me to say. Jack Adams to old Ryan Huska. Selke to Anze Kopitar in what could very well be his last season. Very sad, very disappointing. Ted Lindsay Award to one Leon Draisaitl, and Austin Matthews won the Rocket Richard. In the AHL, Calder Cup went to the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, but Angus Crookshank scored the most points. He was also league MVP. Liam Foudy with the most goals for Bridgeport. Cam Squires was the Rookie of the Year. Kalen Addison, top defenseman. And Matt Tompkins, best goaltender, with Sam Poulin winning MVP for the Calder Cup winning Penguins. So that will bring us to the draft. And actually, let's take a look at the progress reports here really quickly. Similar information, obviously, in terms of how it's presented and how certain people improved. But we did, get some development from the likes of Lambos and Furcus. Winterton as well might crack the roster next year. And then down in the AHL, Brustovich, Dragicevic. It is nice that we have a good amount of defensemen in the system right now, too. But again, what we're really missing is that super high-end talent to build around. Don't know if that's going to change, especially without Gavin McKenna. As it is, the Utah Mammoth do win the lottery. We are going to have the 12th overall pick, thanks to that late season resurgence, as annoying as that is. For retired players, Brent Burns is gone. Ryan Suter, of course, he hasn't signed in real life. Logan Couture is still listed on the Sharks roster, but obviously he is very much done as well. Of course, Shea Weber is still on roster in this game. So is Ryan Ellis, all the LTIR guys that they leave. And the trend of no goalies retiring at the end of the first season's there, too. As Ryan Suter becomes a coach, I didn't even notice that he went back to Minnesota. Brent Burns, Kevin Connaughton become scouts. Fair enough. And we are going to get to this draft and see if there is anything else that we can do. Capitals are willing to trade the second overall pick, but without a McKenna, is it worth trading up? The answer is probably yes. There's two forwards, and apparently we know for a fact, and again, you can still see how long it takes for some of this information to load. It is pretty annoying. But apparently we do know that Ernesto Cruz has an ability. NHL ready. Confirmed quick release. It's level 1, but still, that is definitely a player worth trying to trade up for. So let's see if we have anything that the Capitals would want to be able to get that pick. Apparently not. I think we could probably get it manually. probably. There's some other pieces I want to see if we can trade away. Jordan Eberle, at least his signing rights. But, oh boy, again, case in point. You can tell it's my first playthrough on franchise for this year. Washington, what can we do for you to get this deal? Like, obviously, we can use the 12th overall pick. We can use the 23rd from Tampa as well. I mean, that's close. Will that go through? No. But again, we got to be a little bit close here. Skaters matching block. Anybody that isn't overly important to us. I mean, again, there's a bunch of the prospects. I mean, Josh Mahura just signed with them. How's the signing rights to Jordan Eberle sign? He still has the no trade clause. I can't even trade his signing rights. Well, they don't really. I mean, again, I prefer to not get rid of some of these guys. You know, I feel like we need as many prospects in the mix that can fight for these spots. So if we were to also use, because again, we have all these second round picks, like I need high end quality. What if we were to also add pick number 56? Still no. What if we were to make it pick 54? Still no. What if we were to make it pick 51? What the hell even happened there? Still no. What if we were to make it pick number 44? Still no. What if we also add in pick 56? So 2 firsts, 2 seconds, because we want that guy with quick release. There we go. So it's a lot to give up, but we keep every prospect in-house that we already had. Smith ended up going first overall, 82 medium elite. So not bad. Let us call a timeout and just see not only if there's anything we can change with our team, but if there is really anything to do. Again, we're going to stay loyal to some of these contracts. I don't have fun just immediately getting rid of the worst deals. I think we pretty much got rid of everybody that we could outside of Jordan Eberle. Maybe Daniil Maramanov's signing rights. Yeah, I mean, we claimed him on waivers, so that's not surprising. So all of that's good. The only other question to answer is whether or not other teams have good prospects on the block that we'd be interested in getting. I mean, someone like Zach Dean isn't crazy. No trades found. Damn. Tampa moving Sam O'Reilly. We'd have to use Lambos and Cartier, Winterton and Miromanov, Furcus. 3rd round pick and Josh Mahura. I mean, that's not bad at all. I mean, I don't feel too bad about not staying loyal to Mahura because it's not a crazy contract. We didn't even play him this year, so in real life, you could justify he'd want to go to a team like Tampa. So that is a done deal there. Gladly give up a 3rd round pick. The Leafs looking to give up. I'm surprised Ben Danford's only a medium 6. I get he was a late 1st round pick. That's a bit disrespectful. Let's see. Utah trying to move on from a lot of their core players. It's really nobody of a quality that we just can't pick up at a different time. A couple more medium 9s. We're good. Let's aim higher than that. Connolly, questionable character. Questionable character, I would say. 3rd round pick out of Vannon Cartier. I do want to keep Ty Cartier. I like Ty. So he's sticking around. Washington getting rid of a lot of their prospects. I mean, you saw Ovi didn't retire. So they are very much trying to stay competitive here. And I don't think I'm going to get lucky with another similar deal. That Lambos deal was probably worth it. But I'm hoping, see something like this. A 4th rounder and a 3rd rounder for Suzdalev. Worth it. Absolutely worth it. So thank you for that. All of these middling picks, we're fine to move on from. The Ducks looking to move Troy Terry. 1st, a 2nd, and Carson Lambos, or Berkeley Catton, which isn't going to happen. 1-2 in Lambos for Troy Terry is intriguing. He's only 28. He's got 2 or 3, I should say, level 2 abilities, all-star level. We might have to circle back for Troy Terry, honestly. Vetrano would also cost a 1st and a 2nd, or Berkeley Catton. Okay. That Troy Terry offer is interesting. Bruins trying to move Hampus Lindholm, but he's got a no movement clause. Sabres looking to move Consta Hellenius. 2 fourths and Ty Cartier. That's it? God, they're really tempting me into trading Ty Cartier, and I don't like it. I do not like it. Buffalo really wants him. They're also looking to move Radim Mertka already, which is insane. And last guy here, Noah Osland. What do we got for you? Yeah, it's all about the same. Okay. That Troy Terry deal, though, is very, very, very interesting. Tyler Bertuzzi as well. He's got a hat trick of level 1s. The specialist options. I mean, if we were going to pay, we'd go for Troy Terry. Anybody else here? Dallas, nobody too crazy. Detroit, nobody too crazy. I did pause, didn't I? Okay. No, I didn't. Well, I called a timeout at least. Let's call another one. Because we're going to have to work out that Troy Terry deal. Pausing as if it's the Madden draft. So back up to Detroit, who are trying to move Dylan Larkin, but from the looks of it, he's not going to want to come here. Also, it's glitched, so I cannot change any team info. That's new. Back to Detroit. Skaters matching block. Okay, so I'm guessing, yeah. So that just keeps glitching out whenever I try to go to skaters matching block after switching to Detroit. Okay, so maybe go skater matching block before you switch. There we go. Now they're not trying to move him. That makes sense. That makes sense. Interesting glitch, though. Edmonton with Yarventi, Mariola. Panthers trying to move Evan Rodriguez, obviously a really good player. Kings trying to move Philip Deneau. Kopitar didn't retire in this timeline. Obviously, Deneau is now 33 years old. Again, we'd rather be looking at Troy Terry. Montreal, Philip Mizar, and Engstrom, Riley Kidney as well. Lambos in the 7th, Brewstowitz again. I'm trying to see if we can get deals done without having to use our already established prospects to get them done. For the most part, the answer is no, but we have been able to get a couple of people. And again, like obviously the 4th and Ty Cartier makes a lot of sense for Riley Kidney, but I've just preemptively decided that we're going to keep Ty around. The New York Islanders, nobody. The Rangers, Adam Sikora. Lambos, Cartier, Brewstowitz, Winterton, Furcus, so nothing there. Ottawa, nobody too crazy. Philly, nobody too crazy. Pittsburgh, trying to move Brian Rust. Sharks, of course, just getting rid of some of their established guys. Okay, so the only other big deal, we've already picked up the 2nd overall pick. Do we make the deal for Troy Terry? I mean, we do need a top-line right wing. We don't necessarily have one. And Carson Lambos was somebody that we picked up. It's just, is it worth the 2027 first? And I feel like it's a bit of a risk to give up our 1st-round pick and 2nd for next year, but that pick could be anything. It could even be Troy Terry. And again, with that hat trick of level 2s, pressure plus, tape to tape, quick release, I mean, that's a damn good contract to pick up, and I'm surprised the Ducks want to get rid of him. But again, we're trying to get this team into a better position with a little bit more of a solid direction. If we have Troy Terry and Capo Caco as our top 2 right wings, that's looking a hell of a lot better than what it might be otherwise. Left wing side, obviously, it's going to be a lot of prospects. And then centers, I mean, Stevenson, McCann, Beniers, they can all play left wing to fill that out. Let's do this. It's a bit of a risk, but a 1st, a 2nd, Carson Lambos to Anaheim. Again, Lambos isn't too bad, but you figure we didn't really give up much to get him, and now he's going to help us get Troy Terry. So welcome in, Troy. We're happy to have you here. You're now the 3rd most valuable player on the team. And we have the 2nd overall pick as well, which is going to be able to be used on left wing, Ernesto Cruz, which my guess is he is going to be ready to go for season 1. So welcome in, Mr. Cruz. 80 overall, medium elite power forward. Ooh, he's got 2 abilities. He's got 2. He's got quick release and send it. Send it is an interesting one this year. Again, instead of it just being, hey, it increases your long distance passing, it also gives a temporary boost to acceleration for the player that receives the pass. So it's definitely an enhanced ability this year, to say the least. Obviously, for a winger and a power forward, like, how often is he going to be deep in the in our own zone on breakouts to really benefit from that? Not sure, but still, I will very, very much take that. And I feel like we've done a good amount of damage here. I don't really think there's too much else we're going to be able to do, at least until we get to our stage later on. Like, we could, of course, look to trade up, but we don't have too much else going on. And, of course, we've already gotten rid of our first next year, but we do have Tampa's first next year, apparently. So I don't hate that. And we got Winnipeg. So at least we still have a little bit of coverage. But I guess we'll take a look at the draft class, and we'll see what we have going on a bit further down towards the end of the first round. And is there anybody? There's Chase Reed on the Sioux, but we don't know for sure how good he is. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, medium sixes, are they worth trading up for? Yes, but there isn't a guaranteed medium elite that we're going to be able to get. Of course, our scouting department in Season 1 sucks. That's just the way franchise mode works. But, yeah, I think we can just hold on to our picks. I mean, Avery Onstis, that's not too bad. Yeah, I think we hold on to our picks, and we just hope that there's somebody there in the second round that we can get. So pick number 51. It's been a bunch of medium nines, medium sixes as of late. But what do we have here? And Avery's still there, or Avery, if it were to be that. There's also the goaltender, Skylar Roberts, playing for Saipa. Cole Hogan, another goalie, Artem Kvasha, and one more at a 2 out of 4 in Cogliano. Any guaranteed low elites or medium sixes? The answer there is no. So certainly taking Skylar Roberts seems like a good idea. If we were to take a goalie at all, it would be him rather than Kvasha. So we have a defenseman, good old Lenny Cogliano, who... No. There is Cole Hogan, a little bit better. And then there's Avery, who at least has the comparison to Jake Voracek. Avery, come on down, buddy. Let's see. Medium 9. Yeah, that sounds about right. And the good news is that goalie in one Mr. Robert is still going to be here. So Skylar Roberts is a medium elite, but a 47 overall. So some prime trade bait there. Fourth round. Do we have anybody? Someone like Leonard Cogliano is still there to take a risk on, although he could be way down the board. Let's just see who we have. Louis-Francois Belanger of the Newfie Regiment. Or we could take another Latvian and Carlos Flugens. Let's go for Louis. You guys have seen me play this game before. Hey, we like taking players, real players with real pictures. Quite often at these stages of the draft. Daniil Skvortsov might be the next. Mathieu Picard is there. There is Brody McConnell Barker. Let's just take Skvortsov. Who cares? Who cares? Yeah, he's not that good. It's fine. It's the 6th round of the year 1 draft. We're not expecting much. We will take Leonard Cogliano here, who's a medium 7th, so not that good. And who else? Anthony Cristoforo. Who's tall as hell? The NHL is going back to drafting people who are tall as hell. Sean Burrick on Penticton. You are the tallest of the bunch. Come on down. You're not that good. You're not that good. That's okay. So the first round ended up looking like this. Obviously, it's going to be a mix of generated dudes and real prospects. But for a first year 1 draft, that's honestly not that bad. At least in terms of, hey, at least like Ryan Rubrik isn't terrible or something like that. But I mean, for us, pretty good. I mean, we sacrificed a lot, but we end up walking away with a pretty good, second overall pick. On top of that, acquiring Troy Terry. We still have a lot of younger guys in the mix here as well. So I'm feeling pretty decent with what we have going on here. Another day, another season, season 2 with the Kraken coming up. Couple of changes to talk about, and of course the finalized roster. As per usual, the AI always fires really good coaches, so we brought in Rick Tocchet. Patrick was our goalie coach. We'll see if that helps. And as far as the team is concerned, honestly, I think we're looking pretty decent. We are going to try to just brute force the development of Ernesto Cruz. Matty Beniers, Troy Terry round out that top line, which I'm pretty happy with. McCann, Wright, and Capocacco on that second line. Third line, we're taking some risk by dropping Chandler Stevenson down that far. But I'm not really worried about him regressing because we are freaking stuck with him for 2 more years anyway. So screw it. We might as well just try to make sure that we can brute force, or as best we can, Beniers and Wright's development. Jordan Eberle is back on a 1-year deal. So I'm kind of risking putting Freddie Goodrow on the fourth line, but he is with Ryan Winterton and Ty Cartier. Defense, Dunn and Montour, Lindgren and Larson, who are already here, of course, and Riker Evans with Hunter Brustowitz. And goaltenders, Joey Decord with Nicholas Coco is down in the AHL. Good old Philip Grubauer, of course. But the AHL is honestly, again, looking pretty good. Line chemistry isn't too crazy, but Berkeley Catton's there. Just didn't have room for him this year. But he should be able to make the team. I mean, really, he could make the team this year. But I don't want to play him on the fourth line. You know, that's not a fourth line player. You could argue Yanni Neiman could be dropped down, but I think in general, having Berkeley just tear up the AHL should be pretty good for us. Defense, of course, bunch of the dudes that we either already had or picked up last season. So honestly, I don't know if I'm expecting playoffs, but we should definitely be better than we were last year. All right, well, maybe we're not as good as I thought we were going to be. 21, 33, and 4. We are dead last in our division. Brutal. Absolutely brutal, which means we are definitely looking to sell at this deadline. 22nd in goals for, 31st in goals against. I didn't think the defense would be that bad, but right now we are dead last in the Western Conference. I mean, this is a team that needs to be tanking from here. In fairness, we might not even have to change that much to actually tank, but let's take a look at what might happen at ye old trade deadline. Of course, I said I wanted to bring, some stability and a bit of forward progress to Seattle, and well, I mean, I guess, you can do that by going backwards to go forwards. Makes sense. So trade deadline time it is. Vince Dunn's apparently the biggest possible name out there on the market, but again, I don't know if I want to get rid of Vince. Let's start with the goaltenders. Oh, by the way, we don't have our own first round pick. Whoops. Well, Ron Francis has never done that, has he? God damn. We could move Coco, but we're not going to do that. Can Philip Grubauer fetch me anything? No, we can't, so we're just going to wait for that deal to come up. Fine. Defensively. Vince Dunn's deal is up. So was Riker Evans. What could we get for Vince Dunn? Nothing, apparently. So, I mean, the goal is going to be to re-sign him. I don't think we'll get rid of Riker either, unless there's just like this crazy offer. And needless to say, Chris Kreider's not going to be it. We might have a bit of issue finding an actual proper spot for Riker Evans. He just has that competition on that lefty side. I mean, Arbor Jackey's there out of Montreal. I don't know if we'd get the better of that deal. Got Adam Sikora and a second. That's not bad. I do like Riker Evans a lot, but there are some deals that, 2 seconds as well. There are some deals that aren't that bad. If we were, oh my God, yes, game, leave me alone. Let's see, Riker Evans, 25 years old. He has moved up to being a top 4 defenseman. I mean, he is well-rounded. He's just not a big point getter at all, at least on the third pair. I think there's still room to make something happen with Riker Evans. I don't think that's a big deal. So, I mean, Vince Dunn's apparently well sought after, but nobody wants to give up anything for him. Brustowitz, Dragisevich, Price, none of these guys are going anywhere. That's why I sorted by overall previously, just because a lot of the younger guys we know they're not going anywhere. Jordan Eberle, we couldn't flip you last year, but we can move you this year. 2 third-round picks, Peter Chekhov, a second and a fourth from Colorado, second and a fourth from New Jersey. Levi Haminaho. Okay, so a second-round pick. Ooh, Andrew Cristal. If we can get an outright prospect, let's just take the outright prospect, right? So, Lenny, not Levi, I apologize. 22 and a 76 medium speed. He's looking pretty good. 22-76, huh? And then what about Andrew Cristal? Oh my God, game. Stop it. Also, Patrick Laine is apparently a capital. Cristal is a 77 at 22. Okay, so Cristal is just slightly ahead, but he is technically the better prospect. And again, love me some Jordan Eberle. We saw the jersey earlier, but a second round, or not even a second round pick, just getting Andrew Cristal for Jordan Eberle. That's a done deal. That's got to be done. Eberle is on the way out. Also, we picked up Daniil Gushchin on waivers. He wasn't the only one. But we are not going to be able to trade him for anything decent, so we might as well hold on to him. Left wing side. Cruz is already up 2 points. Ty Cartier has jumped up to an 84 and has also developed Wrecking Ball? Or Truculence, I guess. Did he have Truculence or did he develop that? I could have sworn he just developed that. Maybe I'm wrong. Now, they still haven't really fleshed out the abilities through the conversation system to develop things like Truculence or Ice Pack or anything like that. So I guess it just happens a bit more naturally. He does have 99 freaking body checking from preseason stuff. I also switched him over to a grinder. So, it makes sense. I could have sworn he didn't have that, though. But if there is a little bit more natural X Factor development in this game, I'm not complaining. So that is interesting, and all of a sudden, Cartier just became a hell of a lot more important for us. And then down the middle, of course, Stevenson's going nowhere. Shane Wright's deal is up. He's going nowhere. Furcus is close. Winterton. I think Jordan Eberle was really the big piece to move. Like, next year, you're talking, Freddie Gaudreau. He'll be down to 1 year left. We can certainly look to move him out. Didn't even notice Jared McCann was on 1 year left. I'm sure some of you were screaming at me for that. But nobody wants Jared McCann. That's not to say I can't find a manual deal for him, but they are the 2 top options, or 2 out of 3 top options with McCann and Dunn, and I cannot find a trade for either of them, at least through the trade finder, which is my preferred method, just to, save a bit of time. So, I guess the answer is there a team out there giving up super high-end prospects or that are also willing to give up picks that would make a manual trade worth it? And the answer so far is no. This is not a good market right here. You have Carson Carrells, I forget how to say your name. You were a 2026 second rounder. Anyway, that's an okay option off of Florida, but they're not even willing to trade their own first. Man, if Florida's not willing to trade their own first to get better, then what the hell are we even doing here? There's just nothing. Haminaho, New Jersey's not willing to move their first. Sheesh. Well, I guess in the short term, we're going to be looking to re-sign certain people. Tomic, are the Rangers willing to move a pick? Nope. Oh my God, it keeps switching the triggers. It's so annoying. Man, we got nothing. I could make a move for Noah Cates. We don't even have space for him. That's why I'm looking for prospects. It is just the vast majority of teams in the league looking to sell some of their their better players. This was not the right year. Now there is Mathis Preston. Okay, it's Washington. It's got to be Washington. Even though they don't have well, actually, in fairness, what do they have for picks? They're not willing to move their own first, but Preston, I always forget if it's Parasak or not, and Lyndon Lakovich or Lakovich. If the Capitals are trying to leverage their future to win a Stanley Cup with Ovi before he goes, we can take advantage of that, certainly. As much as I like Jared McCann, if we have Cruz on the left, Cartier is going to be on the third line, and we're having trouble fitting Stevenson, Beniers, and Berkeley Catton all down the middle because we can't, but these guys can also play the left. Jared McCann's got to be the most likely to go. I think we can hold on to Vince Dunn as a number one defenseman to work with Montour. Next year, we'll have to find a way to get rid of Lindgren to make more space for Riker Evans. But Jared McCann's the guy to go. Now, he doesn't want to go to Washington, though, because of course he doesn't. Will you... Let's talk about that clause. What about my clause? Preference, persuasion. Is there another team you'd be willing to be traded to? Can you provide us more teams? We'd like you to waive your clause so that we can trade you. Will you give me 3 more teams? Nope. All right. Well, I figured I'd try to get lucky. Okay, so if we can use draft picks then or use Jared McCann to acquire draft picks. I mean, God, of course that didn't work out. I mean, we do have the goalie cheese that we can use here with Roberts. But yeah, if we can use Jared McCann in a different deal, that's not too bad. But I would love to get these prospects away from Washington. And then that way we can just keep the best of the best. So in theory, if we have that Tampa first, if we have the Winnipeg second, we're close but not close enough. Who else might they want that isn't actually good that I don't actually want to get rid of? Poirier's 24 at this point. He didn't make the team this year. We could use Poirier in that deal. That's not bad. Roberts, a first, a second, and Poirier? No, but it shouldn't take too much more with Poirier added in. What about our third rounder next year? No. Quite far off. So what about a first, 2 seconds, Roberts and Poirier? If we use our own second next year. Still not enough. Damn. Really? I don't know if we're pulling this off. I don't know if we are. I'm trying. We also picked up Dylan Coughlin on waivers, I should have mentioned as well. Wasn't really relevant. Freddie Gaudreau doesn't want to go there. All right, maybe we don't need all 3. But I really do want all 3. Especially with the way the draft works in this game. That said, am I willing to sacrifice a potential first overall pick? Granted, I did that this year. If we take out that Tampa first and use my own first next year and don't, accidentally remove it, would this work? Yes. Okay. So that is now 2 years in a row that I have sacrificed my own first round pick. Boy, I'm sure that's not going to haunt me at all. Jared McCann, there's no offers to be found. I need to see. We have a little bit over an hour to do this. We know that we want to flip Jared McCann to get something back. Unfortunately, okay, so we do know that Anaheim works. Boston works. And then I'd have to double check from there because I didn't take a look at the full list because I was trying to save time. Oh, my God, please. So, there's 22 teams. Fair enough. Anaheim, you're not even going to be able to fit them on the team. Is there anybody that is actually... Oh, my God. Of course, they have my first this year. Is there anybody that is willing to trade their first-round pick this year? It doesn't matter who, as long as you are not on his no-trade list. And even if there isn't... Actually, we have 2 hours left. I lied. Even if there isn't, we should have the value with McCann to just get a first, even if it's a late. And then we can add some extra picks. Not a single team wants to trade a first-round pick at this deadline. That is... that is something. Not a single damn team. 29 other teams in the league. Not one dares to trade a first-round pick at the trade deadline. Interesting. Okay. Well... There's no way we're getting our own first back from Anaheim. That's just not going to happen. Boston is possible, but are they going to have the cap space? No, they are not. Give me a team like Chicago that does have cap space. I mean, Jared McCann would be a good fit for Chicago. He's willing to go there, too. Chicago's actually doing okay this year, too, which is interesting. And there's no reason we couldn't retain on Jared McCann to just try to boost up that value a little bit more. I technically could have done that on the others, but it wasn't as big of a deal because we need to try to maximize the return here. So, Jared, you are lovely, but if we are going to try to tank the rest of the year, then you got to go. I would just like to get as many picks back here as we can. What do you think, Chicago? Not enough. Get rid of a fourth. Still too much. And how about 1/3? And that's not too much because they don't want to freaking move the first rounder. And then I do this, and that's not enough. And then what about just Jared McCann for a first rounder? That is batshit insane that they are not taking that, which means I am really struggling to get fair value for Jared McCann. What if I had a 4th rounder from Seattle this year? No. What if I had a 5th rounder? Okay. Might we have to keep Jared McCann? This is crazy. All right. I mean, if Chicago's not going to work, who else? Columbus? What do you think, old CBJ? I know you guys want to make the playoffs. Give me that first rounder, please. Oh, my God. What about with the 4th? The fact that no teams even want to move their first rounder is insane to me. We got a first rounder from Dallas. It's not a ton, but we did what we had to do. Vince Dunn at 30 years old, I plan on keeping, but that does open up space. Number one, we got a bunch of prospects, but that does open up space for Berkeley Catton to get called up for the rest of the year. Well, I certainly didn't expect 50 losses. I'll say that. I know I talked about the idea of us kind of tanking in the back half of the season, which, again, why would you do that when you don't have your own pick? Again, it's the theoretical tanking, right? It's not like we're outright trying to be bad, but it's just like, all right, we're going to be bad. Let's get younger guys into the lineup, or at least some veterans, and have the younger guys, kind of tear it up in the AHL. But yeah, this team sucked this year. 57 points, easily the fewest in the league. 70, or I should say 62 of Anaheim's was the next lowest. So the Ducks might have the top 2 picks in this year's draft. Congratulations to them. But as we take a look at what the boys did this year, Vince Dunn, 76 points. Again, we're definitely bringing him back if we can help it. Matty Beniers, 51 points. Chandler Stevenson on 48. Shane Wright has also popped up with Truculence and Hipster. Okay. Now, again, his checking is up there because of, the preseason drills and everything, but very interesting. Troy Terry has had a very bad time. He is a very unhappy boy on this team, and we got to try to fix that. He's here for a bit. We got to try to fix that. Capo Caco has also developed other abilities. Stick him up in no contest. Okay. All right. I mean, 84 stick checking. Okay. Freddie Goodrow on 29 points. Cruz finished with 29 points. Don't think he's going to win Rookie of the Year, unfortunately, with just as kind of a mid, run of form that was, even on the top line. But Vince Dunn played really, really well. Brandon Montour played really, really well. And then obviously the point totals drop pretty far down from there. Ryan Lindgren is also not very happy with me, which kind of sucks because he signed for a bit. And then defensively, Joey Decord, an 895. Go with an 873. So not the best goaltending this year either. Apparently things just did not work for us. Worked very well for Sasha Barkov, though. Scoring was up this year. Pasternak, Draisaitl, McDavid, and Kyle Connor, your top 5. Crosby's still up there. Pasta, though, with 63 goals. McDavid on 55. Bedard, Barkov. Yeah, Ovechkin hit 52. Even Brad Marchand was up there. And Kirill Kaprizov. Ovi, by the way, granted he might retire at the end of the year, 1,002 career goals now. And then defensively, Quinn Hughes. Again, we're on default scoring settings. Quinn Hughes, 102 points in Season 2. Adam Fox also well over a point per game. For the goalies, winningest, Sergei Bobrovsky. Allmark, the only other goalie to break 40. And save percentages, I mean, they're down. Sorokin at a 920, the only starter to hit that mark. For the rookies, it is probably going to be Rucker McGroarty that wins the Calder because I have a feeling Frondell is just too far behind, 9 points back, even though the plus-minus is better. So McGroarty should probably win the award this year, which is very disappointing for Cruz, unless they give it to Jesper Wallstead, who's found his way in Columbus at this point. So we'll have to see what happens, but obviously a very disappointing end to our season. Well, I, for one, praise our brand new Canadian overlords. The Edmonton Oilers win in Season 1. The Toronto Maple Leafs win a Stanley Cup here in Season number 2. NHL 26 is looking like it's going to be a pretty strange and interesting game, I would have to say. In the finals, the Leafs ended up beating the Vancouver Canucks, so we were guaranteed a Canadian Stanley Cup champion for the second year in a row. And, no surprise, of course, the likes of Austin Matthews. Morgan Riley actually did really, really well. So did Nylander. Of course, who knows how many grenades Riley was throwing up ice. You never quite know. But in terms of the awards, again, Edmonton and Toronto to kick us off. Sasha Barkov won the Art Ross this year. He also won the Hart. Quinn Hughes wins the Norris. The Calder does go to Rucker McGroarty. Austin Matthews taking home the Conn Smythe. Sorokin the Vezina, as well as the Jennings. The Jack Adams went to the Islanders' new coach. Crosby wins the Selke, Ted Lindsay Award to Barkov, and the Rocket Richard to Pasternak. In the AHL, Grand Rapids Griffins took home the Calder Cup, while Henrik Borgstrom, good old Henrik Borgstrom, top point getter, was also league MVP. I think it's Mathieu Blumel, top goal scorer. Gradine, who we picked up, was the top rookie. Shillington, the top defenseman. Kaapo Kakkonen, the top goaltender. And Nate Danielson, MVP of that Calder Cup winning team. So that'll bring us to the draft, which is going to be interesting, especially to see where the Ducks ended up. We did get some good development. Berkeley Catton's definitely good to go for next year. Edouard Saleh, Jagger Furcus. I mean, we're looking good, right? We took a year off from being anything. If anything, we might have temporarily made the situation worse for the Kraken, and for that, I apologize. But clearly, as you can tell, it was for good reason. So we're going to see what happens here at the draft. Maybe, just maybe. I mean, we did pick up 2 first-round picks. Maybe something can happen. Turns out Anaheim has no lottery luck, though. They fall to 3 and 4. Yikes. It is Philadelphia and Montreal with the top 2 picks in this draft. So I don't necessarily feel too bad. But there is a franchise-level defenseman, Roy McKay, out of fucking Euclid. What the fuck is that? In the Landon DuPont draft, who I presume is also a franchise-caliber defenseman in this game. So, damn. I mean, again, it would have been really nice to still have our pick. It'd be easier to trade up, but holy, especially because Troy Terry was just not happy with us this year. Nick Backstrom's gone. Of course, IRL, he's going to be playing back in Sweden. Connor Sherry is gone. Wow, the point drop-off there is absurd. Oh, my God. And then defensively, you got Letang, Petrangelo, of course, who's already really done. And, of course, quite a few others. And in goal, Carey Price, number 1 goalie, ends up retiring. We still need some form of Hall of Fame in the game. I'm very surprised there's still just no basic representation of who's made the Hall of Fame. I think every other game has it. MLB definitely has it. Madden has it. It's not very well celebrated. NBA definitely has it. I think NHL might be the only one that doesn't have it. And I know some people are going to be like, why are you acting like you're surprised? I'm just saying I'm disappointed. Okay. Now, in terms of the top picks, nobody wants to trade, which means we have no shot of picking up a top pick unless we were to give up the sun and the moon. And that is not going to happen, too, because especially a lot of guys aren't signed right now. So, yeah, we are where we are in terms of anything pick-wise. We have picks 29 and 30. Okay, well, at least we're not going to be able to trade up into the top 10. McKay, indeed, was a franchise-level defenseman, which stick him up and send it, which is fantastic, which means Landon DuPont is a HAB, which I think the entire province of Quebec would explode if that were to happen. And for Troy Terry, the Ducks end up with a Mogilny and a Kling. Who's to say? An Andre Mogilny and a German, I'm guessing. Okay. I mean, I'd still probably rather have Troy Terry. Is there anybody? So Buffalo, Minnesota, New York. Is there anybody that's even going to be worth trading up for? Is the big question here. And boy, our scouts took the year off. There's a 3 out of 4 elite and Javon Schofield, who might be worth it. And there's also Lassi Niinema. We got some confirmed medium 6s. Brock Cripps is in this draft. I think we probably just hold then and make back-to-back picks at this rate. We'll see if that was a mistake. But judging by some of the potentials here, I mean, like Springus is good-ish. Schofield is good-ish, but I don't really feel like I made a mistake. And given the quality of this draft so far, does anybody want the 29th pick? Sunkvist and 2-6, Matt Zuccarello. Yeah, I think we'll just we'll take our chances with the pick. What if I put the 2 picks together? I could get Ilya Mikheyev. Exciting. We'll make the picks. Back-to-back picks here for Seattle. There is a guaranteed medium 6, Amari Dalton. Has character issues. 2 years out, though. That's not that bad. I mean, I feel like he has to be a pick. I feel like he has to be. And then otherwise, there is a medium elite goalie in Sam Dowell. And, of course, you have some other guys here that are 3 out of 4 for medium elites. We got a couple, one, actually, 3 out of 4 low elites. And Dalton is the only confirmed medium 6. So, I mean, back-to-back picks, Dalton and Funk would make the most sense, but of course we do not pick again until, what was it, the 4th round? Dowell's going to go earlier then. Of course, we could trade back up. I mean, Dalton's not that bad. Funk might be decent. It's got a Joe Thornton comparison, despite only being 6 foot tall. All right, let's go for Amari Dalton, who is a 67 overall medium 6. That's not too bad. And let's also go after the Swiss national, Bryant Funk. Yes, Bryant Funk. Both of them are okay. They're nothing special. So we will go. When the hell was that goalie projected to be drafted? Was it 3rd round or 2nd? I don't even know. 78th. So we should be okay to just sim through this round, unless somebody takes him early. Mathematics. And Tampa is willing to trade this pick, but for what is the question, because I would love to get that goalie. And honestly, we don't really have restrictions here. So for the scrub-a-dubs that we have on roster, with respect to said scrub-a-dubs, they're not enough on its own. What if we also add, like, our 5th round pick? There we go. Thank you very much to those players for becoming very, very useful, because that will allow us to pick up Sam Dowell. The other guys are just too big of a risk to trade up, but we knew Dowell basically immediately replaces the goalie that we traded away at the deadline. So with that, we do have another goalie in Koivisto. I mean, he is probably the best bet, Tommy Koivisto. And he is okay. Nothing too special. And then the 7th round pick is going to be Matthew Milson from the Newfie Regiment, who is a low 9. So, all things considered, I think we did all right. The Ducks, wow, that's interesting. It goes to the Ducks first instead of going to us. Is that because they had our first pick? Does it glitch out? I don't recall it doing that. But fair enough. Oh, maybe because we were still set to AHL. That's probably why. Lane Lambert's deal is up. I don't know if he's coming back. He hasn't been a very good fit for this team. And in terms of re-signing, it's going to be pretty straightforward. We'll qualify Coco. I mean, Grubauer is going to be gone. And, hey, we'll get a look at what this team is going to be at the start of next year.
Well, season 3, we have some changes to this roster that we have to go over. Of course, as always, there's changes to the coaching staff. Normally, I leave that stuff in. This time, hey, some of you guys are getting what you wanted in terms of leaving some of that stuff out, just kind of seeing what we have going on. Roster this season, it's an interesting one because we are still dealing with the fallout of last season and a lot of unhappy players. So we know Matty Beniers isn't actually an 82 because he's a second-line player. So right now, it's kind of tough to judge about really what this team is. He does have quick draw as well. I probably should put him at center even over Shane Wright, although Wright can only play the right wing. So honestly, I might just leave Beniers there, and he might still have power play time. Shane Wright has developed a couple of abilities. Shane Wright was offer sheeted last offseason, and I made the choice to match it, passed up 2 first-round picks to do it. He also developed Unstoppable throughout the offseason. It is a lot of money, a lot that we are paying to Shane Wright, but no clauses attached to it. And generally, we can afford it as well. As it is, we have a cap whale in the AHL this year. Troy Terry, of course, very upset. Capo Caco, very upset. Chandler Stevenson, everybody on this team is unhappy, except for Berkeley Catton, who will hopefully win Rookie of the Year this year, where Ernesto Cruz could not. But Jagger Furcus has made the team as well. Edward Saleh, I believe it's Saleh. I do still think it's a decent team. I don't think we should sim as poorly as we did. But yeah, a lot of upset players. Someone who is not upset is Vince Dunn, because Vince Dunn got paid. It was very expensive to do so, but we saw the points that he was able to put up. It's a big contract to hand out. Not maybe the most unrealistic contract by the time Vince Dunn does need a new deal, right? You think about what a Cale Makar, a Quinn Hughes, and Adam Fox would get. All of a sudden, Vince Dunn, okay, $12 million, maybe not. But is Vince Dunn on his next contract, especially too, if he has another gigantic season, right? Like 24-25, not so hot. But if he has another 64-point season like he did in his second year in Seattle, I don't think it's impossible to say that he could be a $10 million player. We also have Lukas Dragicevic, who has made the team this year. Goaltender still the same, Joey Decord and Nicholas Coco. AHL haven't fully set it up yet in terms of optimizing, but obviously it's going to be a very, very good team. There is a new name that is here as well. Mika Tulola, who was just selected 11th overall by Minnesota. They traded me this guy for Brustowitz, straight up, who lost out on his spot to Dragicevic, who was at least an actual member of the Kraken. So we did add in another option and say hello to Brendan Smith, your cap whale. So hopefully this team can kind of turn it around a little bit, because I don't think we should have been as bad this past season as we were. If we are that bad, all of a sudden some of these players might really, really, really want to work their way out. And in terms of, deals that are expiring, we got Cartier on a 1-year deal, Riker Evans, but Capo Caco's deal is up. Freddie Goodrow's deal is up. There would still be people to move on from to try and improve this team for the future if we have to sell at the deadline again. Really hoping we don't have to do that. Well, we aren't as bad as we were last year. We already have more wins, but 28, 29, and 5. It is good for 5th place in this division. We are 6 points back of the Canucks, who have 4 games at hand. So the odds that we make the playoffs here before the deadline, obviously the odds that we make the playoffs before the deadline, and even after the deadline, not that great, certainly. Joey Decord back up to a .919 save percentage, but we are having issues getting certain players back into kind of believing in this team, and that is continuing to be a little bit of an issue. I do think there are certain players that maybe we could debate trading. I don't think we're going to get rid of Cartier. Freddie Goodrow, maybe if we can get anything for him. Montour's bounced back a little bit, though. Someone like Larson's still pretty upset. Lindgren's still pretty upset. So it might take moving on from some of these people for us to actually get the morale of this team back to where we want it to be. But it took a big hit. Again, if you play with player morale on, you can have moments like this. where just the locker room kind of sours. And I mentioned the Vancouver Canucks. It is one of those realities that can very much happen. I totally get why someone might not want to play with this feature on, though. But let's take a look at Mikhail Sergachev. I mean, obviously, we're still not in a buyer's situation here. And then draft pick-wise, of course, we did get rid of our first-round pick. So you could argue we're in a buyer situation because we don't necessarily want to tank, of course. We do have that goalie that could go. Joey Decord still under contract for a while. Coco, of course, will be an RFA. Outside of that, I mean, Riker Evans, I think, is still going to be an RFA. He might be a UFA this year, but I'm still interested in keeping him. But are we going to be able to do that? Like someone like Caden Price is getting really close. Dragisevich is, of course, already here. Larson's got time left. And, of course, Brendan Smith is here on that one-year deal. It really is Ryan Lindgren that's kind of causing some issues. Capo Caco, morale, you can see it. It's down. How has he been doing for us? I mean, he does have that hat trick of abilities, but yeah, I mean, 23 points, a minus 19. It's just a case of the situation may have gone bad, and there's not much we can do about it. Apparently, we could get Morgan Frost for him in a second. Artyom Zub in 2 seconds. That's it. So Morgan Frost. I'm a bit surprised he's available. 4 years left at 6.8 mil. Obviously, more of a center, has certain abilities and everything. It's just very difficult for us to fit another center and another lefty into this lineup. So I don't think that's going to happen. But then what about Artyom Zub? Or do we try? I mean, in fairness, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to keep Capo Caco around if we could just get him to kind of snap out of it. But Artyom Zub, what are you dealing with here? I mean, it's obviously a righty. He could replace Adam Larson. Very similar players. Got a year left after this. Obviously, the 2 second-round picks are very interesting as well. If we were to bring in Zub, again, that right-hand side, you would be talking about maybe moving on from Larson, who's not happy here anymore. We just have a year left on his deal. If it's not him, it would be Dragisevich, but he is a legitimate NHLer, so we don't want to stunt his development. I'll consider that. Is there any other deal here that would make sense for us? Ty Cartier just continues to develop. God damn. I really don't necessarily want to get rid of him either. Of course, Suzdalev and Cristal are getting better, though. If we were to move Ty Cartier, that could get us 2 second-round picks from a variety of teams, that being for a third liner. It's tough to turn that down. Obviously, the physicality is through the roof. But otherwise, are we going to want to pay him 3, 4, God forbid, $5 million, or would we rather have the 2 second-rounders? And then outside of that, Freddie Goodrow, I mean, it'd be cool if he goes. He could even fetch us a second-round pick. That is very surprising. I mean, it's a very Bruins thing to do, though. Freddie Goodrow for a second on Boston. Yeah, that's a done deal. That's not even a question. Jagger Furcus is about ready. So, again, Beniers still working on getting that morale back up. I mean, he's signed. He's not going anywhere. We're not giving up on him. Cruz, he's not going anywhere. So, yeah, it really is just that we want to move on from Kako. Troy Terry has kind of backfired on me, to say the least. Lindgren's not too happy. Larson's not too happy. Well, if we have the players that are unhappy, Matty Beniers could get us Ryan Rubrook in a second. But I really don't want to get rid of Matty Beniers. I would very, very much like to keep him. We just need him to figure his shit out, please. Left wing side, no one's that upset. Troy Terry is hating his life here. Of course, we know what we could get for Capo Caco. Terry could also get us Ryan Rubrook and a second. I don't want to move on from Troy Terry, but he's not happy here, and something has to change. You know, we gave up quite a bit to get him, but also getting Rubrook is sweet. I mean, granted, he's another left wing, and we'll have to figure that out. But the guy's got unstoppable for the whole reverse hits and everything. He's a big dude, plays a good style. We're going to take that deal with Boston. We'll send out Troy Terry. We know he's not happy here. That is a move that backfired. Proper ambition, but it didn't work. And then Capo Caco, again, we could get Morgan Frost a second and now Andrew Peak or Artyom Zub in 2 seconds. Right. If we look at the least happy people on the team, Lindgren is at the bottom of that list. Apparently the Bruins at some point acquired Trevor Connolly. Jordan Stahl's out there. Arbor Jacki is now in Carolina, as is the Swedish Sebastian Aho. Second and a third from Detroit. No real prospects to speak of. You know what? I mean, Connolly in a second is just too good to pass up. It's another freaking lefty, but we'll sort it out. Lindgren wants out. Let's send him back to the team that drafted him, the Boston Bruins. Works for me. And Capo Caco is the last pretty upset guy. Unfortunately, the other deal for Artyom Zub is off the board. Frost a second and Peak isn't too bad, though. Larson's the next guy that's relatively upset. Can we get anything for him? I mean, a third rounder Henry threw in a third and a fourth. I mean, a third round pick and a fourth round pick really isn't that bad for Larson. Of course, he was one of the original members of this team. But it might be the right time for him to go too and kind of have that young defensive takeover. He's just not going to benefit us if he's not going to be happy here. So we'll send him out east to Toronto for a third and a fourth. And the last guy who's, decently under 50% morale is Capo Caco. I'm not tied to the idea of having Morgan Frost on this team, but Shane Wright could move to the right wing. Frost could take a right spot down the middle. And no, we can't. We're too late. They traded him to Montreal in a deal involving Kirby Dach. So I think that's about it. Yeah, there's no deals left for Caco at this point. So we'll kind of see if he can help turn it around down the stretch. But otherwise, we've moved on from certain people who weren't too happy here anymore. Unless there's a manual deal for Caco that we can find, which might be worth it. And then there's also that idea of Ty Cartier, but he's happy. I'd rather keep him here if he's happy. Like, the issue with Caco is just he's pissed. And we're really struggling to kind of get these guys out of that funk. Cutter Gauthier is available. What's the worst thing that could happen targeting a player on the Ducks? That didn't blow up in my face once before. Not at all. Man, the Ducks just do not want their young players. Unless there's a crazy prospect available, we'd be kind of dumb to not do that. Hopefully Detroit didn't beat me to the punch. They didn't. Sean Farrell's available. Sean Farrell's available. Dougie Hamilton, Brett Pesce. Aitchison being out there, I think that guy's going to be a beast for the Islanders too. But I think clearly, like, if Cutter Gauthier is available, we bring him in and we try to make that work. There's a couple of options here and there, but yeah, that's our guy. If we can make this deal work. We can retain on Caco for the rest of the year, and we might as well because the cap is not great. But yeah, if we can use Capo Caco as the big part of a deal to get Cutter Gauthier, we do it. Question is, what else could we add? We do, of course, have the goalie cheese. Is that enough? Not quite. What else do we have? What if we use someone like Milson? Were there any other unsigned dudes that weren't that good? That medium 9's not too bad, and a couple of medium 6s. What if we just use Milson? Not enough. What if we use the 4th round pick this year? Not enough. Apparently we're quite far off. I misread that. 3rd rounder of our own. 2nd rounder from Boston, who looked like they were going to be good. Still not enough. Oh, my God. 3rd rounder from Seattle. Still not enough. You know what? This is worth it, though, if we can get this deal. What about 2 seconds this year? It's either I'm building up the Seattle Kraken or I'm actually building up the Anaheim Ducks. Which one is it? I'll never tell. Well, we had a better season, 38, 37, and 7, despite selling at the deadline, but that is not good enough to make the playoffs. We missed out by 6 points on the 8 seed, which, I do still think it's progress, right? Like, obviously, we haven't gotten the Kraken back into the playoffs, as was the original goal, through these first couple of seasons, but we've made some promising changes. Obviously, the acquisition of Cutter Gauthier, which I didn't plan at all. I thought Troy Terry would be the guy from the Ducks that we actually looked to bring in, but point per game for Gauthier once he was acquired, I mean, he lived up to what we were looking to get out of him. Shane Wright takes an awful lot of penalties and only shot 6% this season. That $12.125 million's looking kind of rich. Chandler Stevenson, not too bad. Beniers. Vince Dunn, only 50 points, so I can't quite say he was worth that big-time contract. He also developed Hipster, even though he only has 87 body checking, so I'm not really sure what's causing Hipster to develop a ton. Berkeley, only 36 points. I mean, it's pretty disappointing. We called up Vilmanish and Suzdalev at the end of the season just to give some other guys a little bit of a chance and some guys a little bit more time down in the AHL. 24 points for Dragicevic, though, as a rookie isn't too bad at all. Ty Nelson and Ottavainen got the call-ups. And Joey Decord, I mean, a 9-on-1 save percentage, he was good. He was all right. But again, we weren't quite good enough to make the playoffs this year. Good Lord, did the scoring go up. Matthews and Nylander, McKinnon up there, Draisaitl and McDavid. Okay, haven't changed the scoring settings, of course. And all of a sudden, now you have Nathan McKinnon scoring 79 times. Okay, this is interesting to see the turn that this is taking from the slow start of season 1 with only a couple of guys scoring 100 points to now seeing some guys score 60, 70 goals. That's pretty outrageous. Better or worse. In terms of the rookies, Matt Savoie is definitely winning the Calder. Good Lord. Good Lord. Yeah, better luck next year, Berkeley. He doubled you up in scoring. I mean, he must have been with the big two at Edmonton. Well, I get to be a little bit more happy about the Stanley Cup winner this time. It's the Boston Bruins with the Henderson Silver Knights taking home the Calder Cup. The Bruins back on top. The Canadian run of dominance, a.k.a. a couple of years' worth of cups, has come to an end as the Bruins have defeated the Dallas Stars in 7 games. The Tyler Seguin Bowl in the Stanley Cup final goes the way of the Bruins, led by David Pasternak, Casey Middlestad. I hope he can be that good for the Bruins. Pavel Zacha wasn't too bad. That's a team. Of all the teams to win the cup, that is one of them. Maybe Sweeney and company are on the right track after all. Who'd have thought? But there you go. We have had Edmonton, Toronto, and Boston so far. Austin Matthews wins the Art Ross. Hart Trophy to McKinnon. Makar the Norris. Calder goes to Savoie. No surprise there. Conn Smythe the Pasta. Hellebuck wins the Vezina. Any other awards that matter? Jack Adams goes to Utah's coach. Sebastian Aho wins the Selke, McKinnon the Ted Lindsay, and the Rocket Richard. In the AHL, Victor Eklund scored the most points. Calle Yarncrook was league MVP. James Malatesta the most goals, while Denver Barkey was the top rookie. And I think it's Nolan Chadwick. Apologies if I'm wrong, for best defenseman. And then Sarainen, our goalie. Okay, not bad. Top goaltender in the AHL. While, Cole Schwint was MVP of the Calder Cup winning Silver Knights. Okay. Well, before we get to the drafts, just a look here. I mean, Montour certainly bounced back from a morale perspective. You had guys like Sam O'Reilly, Suzdalev, Parashak. I mean, quite a few of these younger guys definitely did a good bit of developing. Mathis Preston, who, of course, we picked up. He's not all that far away. So, again, we've done a good job of kind of rebuilding, get reorganized with where we want to be. And now it's just a matter of what guys end up making this team. We gave up the 11th overall pick to Washington, but I'm fairly happy with who we ended up with in terms of that big deal. But all things considered, like I said, I think we're just on a really good track right now. Alex Ovechkin has retired 1 point shy of 1,900, finished with 1,044 career goals. Defensively, Torrey Krug, of course, in real life, he's probably done anyway, which is a bit of a shame. And from the goaltending side of things, Talbot, Grubauer is gone. Doesn't surprise me, right? Like, that contract comes due, we let go of him, and then doesn't get signed, and that's it. Makes a good amount of sense. But as far as this draft is concerned, we don't have too much to do. There's nobody at the top of it who wants to let go of anything. For the most part now, I think it's just going to be down to putting together the best team that we can build. It's going to be down to, seeing who develops nicely this offseason that kind of puts us in a position to say, okay, you're going to make the team. Like, morale-wise, the weakest of the bunch is Matty Beniers, but he is an 87. It kind of checks out with the second-line forward option. He might be a little bit more upset than that. Cruz is up to an 85. Like, we've rebounded pretty well from the morale crisis that we had. And I'm not really willing to give up any prospects right now that, aren't guaranteed to be any better. So we could trade up at some point, but let's just go third round. And we'll see if there's anybody. And there is a confirmed medium elite, Jurgen Kurtz, playing for Malmo with the Red Hawks. So, yeah. No, he is in 51 overall. Really good trade bait for us. What do we have in round number 4? Anybody interesting? Another kind of long shot of an elite. 3 out of 4, though. And a confirmed low elite. Owen Goering. Let's go for the Finn. I mean, he is 20. 4 years out. And then what about Owen here? 5 years out. Let's aim high. Let's go for the medium elite. Even if he's good trade bait, he'll probably not be that. He is a medium 4, though. Only a 57 at 20 years old. Still good trade piece. And then Owen Goering is also available, a 51 low elite. I do wonder if low elites are going to work well this year, because NHL 25, they were back to being very inconsistent, it felt like. Of course, prior years, low elites were practically cheat codes in terms of how well they would develop. But if we look here, I mean, there's the one guy who might still be a medium elite, Pablo Brust. Let's hope for the best for Pablo, medium 7th, yeah. And then in the 7th round, do we only have one pick here, or do we have multiple? I don't know. Voinov's 18, Bulbrook is 20, so let's go for the younger guy first, out of Estonia, low 9. And, all right, that's that. Quick and easy for the draft. Really nothing to worry about. And in terms of how this team is going to change from there, I mean, free agency, you might see a couple of things happen, but for the most part, I think we're just going to be kind of filling up this roster from within. I mean, yeah, you can see the obscene amounts of RFAs. And actually, let's go through this really quickly. Why not? Because it won't take that long. And that way, too, you guys can kind of get a look at the free agent list as it stands. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of cap space despite those contracts that we signed last year. Let's see, right wing side on. Yeah, I mean, we can bring this guy in. Yes, I know about the base clause. Oh God, is that going to reset every time I load up franchise mode? That's not good. Ty Cartier's deal is up. How much is he looking for? Dude, $3 million for an outrageously good third liner. I don't even need to worry about saving money, do I? I don't. Let's just give him the 29 or whatever that he was looking for. You got it, Ty. Stick around with us if you would. Andrew Cristal qualified. Saleh, Suzdalev. I mean, obviously, we're not going to let go of these guys for nothing. Fisker Mulgaard's probably in a good position to be traded soon. And then for the centers, all the big names are taken care of. We have Winterton to worry about. Goyette, Danila Klimovich. Probably isn't going to make it too much further. I just don't want to drop him for nothing. So, I mean, there you go. As long as we get one Ty Cartier back. The rest are RFAs. We can make that work. So is there anybody big on the free agent list? Klimovich is signed. Suzdalev, Winterton, Odovainen, Goyette, Coco as well. Ty Nelson's back. Nyman, Repkov, Kristall, Fisker-Molgaard. Okay. Any big names on the free agent list that can kind of tempt me, or are we just going to continue to kind of build from within? Well, Zach Werenski's out there. For RFAs, I mean, maybe like Callum Ritchie, I think we could at least send him an offer. It wouldn't be too crazy of a deal. Like Dragicevic is ours. What, Beck is out there. So yeah, outside of maybe trying to grab a couple of these RFAs, UFA-wise, top dog is Werenski. If it's not him, it is Capo Caco, but he doesn't have too much interest in coming back. I mean, there's a couple of options that you might see pop up onto the team if the deal's right. But for the most part, I think we're kind of be building up through the players that we already have. Well, I'd say we have time for about one more season here at the very least. We'll see, of course, if, what we're looking like at the end of it and see what you guys think of this particular video. But we have made some changes to the team. I need to remember where the hell to find transactions. Where are the activity feed? That would do it. It's been a long time. We did make some trades, including a big one. Adrian Kempe has been acquired from the LA Kings in exchange for a bunch of prospects. They wanted to get rid of him. He wasn't happy there. So it's kind of like the inverted Troy Terry, really. And then a couple of prospects that just weren't going to make it. Suzdalev, Furcus. I like Jagger Furcus, but in this game, despite being a center, his faceoffs are terrible, and he didn't want to play anywhere else. Ryan Winterton goes. We picked up Ryan McDonough as a veteran defenseman, and backup goaltender Nicholas Coco. He wanted to be a starter at this point, and that just wasn't going to happen, so I was worried about it stunting his development, so we move on from him. But this is what the team looks like heading into this next season. Of course, Cutter Gauthier is here. We're going to try to play Berkeley Catton on that top line to see if he can develop a bit faster. Shane Wright to his right. And then we have, of course, Ernesto Cruz, Matty Beniers, and the newly acquired Adrian Kempe, who does have that elite quick release, which is a phenomenal ability in this game. Third line, Ty Cartier, Chandler Stevenson, and Andrew Kristall makes the team. And fourth line, Yanni Neiman. Colby Barlow, who we picked up as a free agent, he was just there, and it's like, all right, cool, let's give him a shot. But he's a center that can actually take faceoffs. Imagine that. And then we signed Matt Maggio, off of the free agent list, mainly because he can skate and he can hit, and that is what we needed on that particular line. Defensively, Vince Dunn, Brandon Montour still looking good. Riker Evans is with Ty Nelson, who has made the team. Ty's looking pretty decent. I mean, an OFD that can actually play defense, pretty nice. And then Ryan McDonough, who does have at least an ability left. All-star warrior. He'll be alongside Lukas Dragicevic, who has made the team yet again. And goaltending-wise, Joey Decord with our new backup goalie, Kim Sarainen, who was the AHL goalie of the year last year, now a backup caliber goalie. Perfect guy to have on the team. The AHL's hilarious because it's basically all forwards that we are trying to develop as the defense shows. Caden Price is our only defenseman. Actually, that's a lie. Brinicki as well is an actual defenseman. Maybe we should do that so there's at least one defensive pairing that isn't that bad. But I do think, you look at this team and what we've done with it so far, I think we're looking better. The question is, though, was this roundabout way to get Seattle back into the playoffs? Was it worth it? Well, we're going to find out in a second if we can at least make the playoffs. All right, so two things here really quickly. First and foremost, our record looking pretty good as we approach the trade deadline. And second, for the rest of this video, there might be an audio quality change. Some of you have noticed in videos recently that, hey, sometimes the mic quality was like awkward or bad. My old mic was dying on me. It happens. I had to wait for the new one to get here and all that fun stuff. So thank you for sticking with me if you have already. And hopefully this sounds okay. And if not, I promise you I'm stressing about it all the goddamn time. All the time. Oh my God. When it comes to the Kraken, though, again, 32 wins. We're looking pretty good. It's mainly our defense that stands out. We're still not doing particularly well in terms of a goal scoring approach, but all things considered, I don't hate how we're doing here. Cutter Gauthier's got 51 points and 20 goals. 38 points for Berkeley Catton. Again, hoping He can have a strong season. Shane Wright's doing okay as well. Not quite $12 million worthy. Got to be honest, second line, Adrian Kempe, only 12 goals. Quite disappointed in that. I can't say he's with a playmaker, though, so maybe we're going to swap Catton and Beniers and see if Berkeley can link up with Kempe pretty well. But this is going to be the first time at the deadline that we are in a position to add to this team, and I am intrigued to see what's out there, right? We still have assets. We have a good amount of prospects still that can be used to go out and get help for this team. Not just my goal in this quick little, 4 or 5 year turnaround to get this team into a better spot and a more consistent playoff spot, but heck, maybe be a contender as well. Teuvo Teravainen, top guy on the list. I was looking at him at the beginning of the season instead of Kempe. He is making $13.5 million for 2 years. Not going for Teuvo Teravainen. There's Pavel Buchnevich, who has 3 years left. He doesn't really fit the team right now. Sanheim has 3 years left. So does Mackenzie Weegar. Kevin Fiala's a proper rental, but again, I don't see anybody that we actually have space for. Based on our lineup, I'm just not seeing it. Again, like defensively or goaltending wise, we're fine. Defensively, we have our top two. How has Ty Nelson done this year? He's been fine. He fits in pretty well. I mean, technically, we could look for a better defenseman. If we can find a rental defenseman to drop Ty Nelson down to the third line, that's not the worst thing in the world. So let's see if there is anybody out there. I mean, obviously, we could look at the top of the board. Braden Shen just looks totally cooked. Jalen Chatfield's up there. Let's go take a look at that, actually, the top of the board here. So in terms of available, do we have any defensemen on 1-year deals? Emil Andre. I mean, what's the asking price for Andre? Brinicki in a second. It's honestly not that bad, really. Is there anybody else on the defensive side of things? Jacob Middleton. Wouldn't be too bad. Is there an asking price that we can meet? Lyndon Lakovic and Barlow on the fourth. So they really want Barlow, who honestly has been pretty decent on the fourth line as far as I know. Oh my God, these tutorials never stop popping up, I swear. Yeah, I mean, he's got 11 goals, 2 assists. He's actually up to a third line player. So, he might not be here too long because he's going to be competing with pretty good players, but I don't hate that idea either. Kevin Ball's got time left. Cam York, NHL, 22, 23 legend, where he was looking really good. Artyom Zub is out there. So was apparently Jackson Lacombe. Ty Nelson, Dragosevich, O'Brien, O'Reilly, Cristal. It's a pretty high asking price for Zub when Andre honestly wasn't even that bad. He's a left-handed shot, so I mean, it might mean that McDonough's out of the lineup. I don't know if that solves the whole, dropping a certain player issue. It kind of does, though. Oh, my God. Did he get traded? He did. He got traded to the Islanders. Oh, my indecision kills me again. When does it not? When does it not? I mean, Anaheim, we've had some business dealings in this timeline. Edouard Saleh for Jackson Lacombe. I don't hate it. I mean, Edouard is now up to a third-line guy. He was a depth player. He's a playmaker, decent skater. He might have a spot on this team long-term. Like I said, forward-wise, I think we're good, really, in terms of who we have. It is just really another defenseman. My boy, Nick Hague! Channel legend Nick Hague. Second-round pick and just, oh, man, I mean, come on, that is very cheap. That's a very cheap deal. I mean, he's been terrible for Detroit. Not the best skater in the world. But it's Nick, by God, Hague. Let's go. Shout out to the medium 9 player, but that's my guy right there. And I think we're good. That's my rental. I mean, really, there weren't any gigantic names that were out there to get. So why not get someone who's a bit more defensive, a bit more reliable, and see what happens from there. Mac Guzda is available. Might as well claim him. We could always use another goalie. Why not? Just in case we get to the playoffs and things are terrible. But Nick Hague is in at the deadline. And we'll see if that's enough. I mean, again, maybe we could have gone for somebody else on the offensive side of things, but who drops out of that, set of lines to make that space? I don't really see who it is out of that six. I mean, I just feel like those are the guys at that point. So Ryan McDonough, I mean, again, he only has the one ability, of course, Warrior in there. We're going to try to send him down. If he gets claimed, so be it. He didn't even get claimed, so I'll probably bump him back up just for a morale reason, but that will allow us to plug Nick Hague into this lineup. That's a decent little increase. And honestly, what we'll do is go Dragicevic, Nelson, Hague, and Evans. Now, apparently the chemistry's terrible, but I could always replace the coach. But I do like that top four a heck of a lot better with respect to Ty Nelson. And as expected, there you have it. The Seattle Kraken back in the playoffs for 2029 with a 44-win season. We're going to draw, go figure, the Anaheim Ducks in the first round. But all things considered, I mean, I think we are in a pretty good spot with this team in terms of just getting us a little bit back on track. I mean, obviously, it took some trades, like, would Cutter Gauthier be let go by the Ducks? I mean, maybe. Could a situation with Kempe go wrong? We brought in some certain prospects we might not have gotten otherwise. But I do think the team, again, it's in a decent spot. We do have some point getters, but man, I can see why Adrian Kempe was let go by the Kings. He has just totally lost his scoring touch. And that is the one thing we're missing, is an elite goal scorer. Even Ernesto Cruz, I mean, the guy's a sniper, 20 goals, the same as Ty Cartier as a grinder. So figure that one out. But I do think the likes of Barlow did okay. Andrew Cristal did pretty well as well at 48 points on the third line. So I don't hate our setup there. And then defensively, Vince Dunn, not too bad. Montour, not too bad. Again, is Vince Dunn worth, the 10-12 million as it is for 59 points? Not quite, but then we get a look at Nick Hague, who was better, to say the least, in our games than he was with Detroit. He was not having too much fun as a Red Wing. In goal, a 9-1-1 for Joey Decord, so obviously our starter. Sarainen didn't do really too bad, 903 in 16 games. And as we look league-wide in terms of the points, up there, but not as crazy as last year. McDavid, Draisaitl, Nylander, Kirill Kaprizov, of course. I mean, imagine they got him for under 10 million on an extension. That'll never happen. But McDavid, Michkov, each hit 60 goals, and that is where it capped out. Nazem Kadri scores 50 as a 38-year-old. Okay. And then defensively, Cale Makar just under a point per game. John Carlson still really good. Obviously, I was kind of hoping that Vince Dunn could be up there for points if Seth Jones is capable of being up there. But if we have a goal-scoring issue, then all of a sudden it makes a little bit more sense then, doesn't it? So, can't complain too much. And in terms of the rookies, Andrew Cristal is very much up there with Beckett Seneca for Rookie of the Year. It should go to Cristal as well, at least hopefully. I feel like he'd be a little bit hard-pressed to not win the award at this stage. But we already know it is going to be the postseason here against the Ducks in round number 1. Obviously, their lineup has changed quite significantly in this time. But 39, 36, and 7 was enough to make the playoffs. In terms of our lineup, it's tough to say. It's tough to say who should necessarily play where. I think that Cristal, Stevenson, Cartier line's actually, it's pretty good. I feel like Cartier could be higher up. Really. I mean, I'm just a bit worried about the Kempe and Cruz combination, with Kempe not really turning it around, but that top line looks good. Maybe we'll leave it for now and see how it plays out. Defensively, we did change things around a little bit. I'm willing to give this team a chance in its current form to see how they do. The Anaheim Ducks at this point, Carlson, McTavish, that guy that was taken very early somewhat recently. It's not a crazy good lineup. Like, they have 39-year-old Steven Stamkos on the fourth line. Minchikov has turned into a beast. And they have the son of George Parros, apparently. Goaltender Dostal, Forsberg behind him. Carson Lambo's still there from a prior trade. So, obviously we did well with the Troy Terry deal, even though it didn't work out. Let's see what happens here. I want to menu sim the first couple of games. Kind of see if there is a bit of a difference between the menu sim and the in-depth sim, as there seems to have been over the past couple of years. And by that, I mean the past decade plus. And we are already down 0-2 in the series. Make it 0-3. Gentlemen, you should be embarrassed. It's good to have us back in the playoffs, but that is a rough spot to be in for the Seattle Kraken. Oh boy. Yeah, no one's really played particularly well. Okay, well, how are we getting out of this? How are we getting out of this? Third liner Matty Beniers. Drop. Maybe not. You know what? Let's get some grit and defensive responsibility out there as our top line. Kempe is probably going to go down to the third line. And Cristal kind of outplayed Cruz quite a bit. Let's try this. Why not? And then defensively, we'll break up Dunn and Montour. Nothing's really working out. There we go. We'll go Dunn, Evans, Haig, Montour. And Joey Decord has been brutal so far. So let's bring in the young Finn and see if he can save us here. Matter of fact, I'll probably just menu sim this too, unless we can come back. It is not looking good in Seattle. We make it back to the playoffs. And we do beat the Ducks in game number 4. Game number 5 is another win. Game number 6, probably a loss. Yeah. So we do make it back to the playoffs. But we lose to the Ducks in 6 games. That is embarrassing, given that we have taken the likes of Cutter Gauthier and Troy Terry away from them. Not ideal. Apparently, Coachella Valley's moving on a little bit. We're not too invested in them. It's nice that they can move on without having, any defensemen on the team. Because I did call Ryan McDonough back up, but just not our year, apparently, which sucks, but it is what it is. We will see who wins the cup. And 4 seasons in? Again, back in the playoffs, a little bit more of a kind of setup here. Andrew Cristal wins the Calder. Not bad. Poise goes up. Potential likelihood increase. And +2 speed for winning the Calder. So, shout out to Cristal. Of course, I do still like some of the options that you have. But yes, it does still take forever in this game to, work with the old conversation system. But I do think this team's in a decent little spot. We could easily continue on with this and try to, get things going. And of course, I'm intrigued to see as well what the response is going to be to a, type of series like this, rather than just being like, because people have asked for the edited stuff a ton over the years. Well, here you go. You got something that was more edited and streamlined. We'll see how popular it may be. But like I said, I think the team's in a pretty good spot. We don't have to pay Cutter Gauthier yet. Obviously, like Dunn and Wright are getting paid a decent amount, but we have a cap whale this year, and the cap is still sky high at this point. So I don't think we're in that bad of a spot. Like I said, it's just a matter of finding out who the right people are going to be. Although it looks like the likes of Adrian Kempe aren't going to be able to get the job done, similar to a Troy Terry. So we have had some bad luck in terms of trading. But Edmonton, Toronto, Boston, and Tampa, the 4 Stanley Cup champions in these first 4 seasons. Connor McDavid wins the Art Ross and the Hart. Makar with the Norris. Calder to Andrew Cristal. Conn Smythe to Nikita Kucherov. The Vezina to Stuart Skinner. And the Jack Adams to Washington's coach. Sean Couturier wins the Selke. Ted Lindsay award the Draisaitl. Rocket Richard to McDavid. And in the AHL, Easton Cowan scored the most points, while Juuso Valimaki was MVP. I actually don't know your first name, Mr. Hain, but congrats on scoring the most goals, while Mathis Preston was the top rookie. Juuso Valimaki, top defenseman. I think it's David DiVincentis. I can't remember. Top goaltender. And Braden Yeager was the MVP of the playoffs for the Grand Rapids Griffins. So 4 seasons in the book of franchise mode in NHL 26. A little bit of a rebuild, a different approach for the Seattle Kraken. A little bit of a dip and a toe into the water for franchise mode for this year. Is it a very familiar temperature of the water? Yes, it is. But I still think we can have some fun this year. So I'm going to take a look at what the reaction is to this video, to whether or not you guys want to keep seeing this going. Otherwise, of course, still have other franchise mode stuff planned throughout this year. And of course, some Be a Pro as well. I'm going to give that a try. Check out that first video if you haven't already. I'm also going to have another video up that talks about some of the, typical things that we talk about at the start of a year. Jerseys, some of the roster info. Not doing a full roster rundown. Check out Tactics for that. He did a full rundown. I couldn't be bothered for reasons that I talk about in the other video. And of course, as always, if you haven't, like, subscribe, all that fun YouTube crap. And the second channel is up there as well. TWOGIE24 for everything non-NHL related, but still sports game related, and very rarely non-sports game related. Till next time, everybody, thank you for checking this out, and I will see you soon with something. Might even be more with the Kraken.